Hello, this is Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913. What are we going to be making today?
Today we're making butter crunch candy.
And it's yum.
Okay, we're going to make butter crunch. This recipe is quite easy, and it's not my original recipe, but I do have permission from a colleague of mine, Chris, who is one of the nurses in my office, who gave me this recipe several years ago, and it's absolutely delicious. I make another kind of butter crunch, but it's a little bit more difficult, and you have to have a candy thermometer. This one here, you do not have to have a thermometer, and it's pretty easy.
So what do we got?
So the first thing you're going to need is a small cookie sheet that has a lip.
16 by 9.
Yep, that's this one. A sleeve of regular saltines.
Yeah.
2 sticks of butter. Half a cup of granulated sugar. I'm using little Hershey bars, milk chocolate Hershey bars, but the recipe actually calls for you can use a bag of the chocolate morsels, like you would make chocolate chip cookies. You could either use milk chocolate or dark chocolate.
Yeah.
You could even use white chocolate if you choose. There's a lot of options to this recipe.
Yeah, and finally.
And then about a fourth of a cup to a half a cup of chopped nuts for the top of it. You can also, even while you're making the crunch, if you like something that has a lot of nuts in it, you could even add some nuts to the butter mixture.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Alright, so yeah, let's get started.
Okay, so we just have a sleeve of regular crackers.
Saltines or
Saltines.
salted crackers. Whatever, they don't have to be saltines. Anyways, one thing you want to do is preheat your oven to 350 even before you do this.
Correct.
So that's why 16 by 9 pan is so good for this, because you can fit 5 saltines on, or 5 salted crackers. And looks like
this one I'm just gonna, you'll see what I'll do. I'm just gonna break it towards the end.
So basically we're just gonna layer the bottom with salted crackers.
Now you don't have to use nuts in this at all.
Yeah, if you have a nut
you could use
omit the nuts.
For on top. You could put, like, once it cools a little bit, candy sprinkles. So there's lots of options in this recipe.
Now, Mom, are we officially like candy makers, like Oompa Loompas, because we're making candy here, or chocolate?
No,
or whatever?
This is just a fun thing. I had learned to make butter crunch years and years and years ago. It was one of my mom's favorite candies, and I would always make it near the holidays so that we would have it with our dessert.
Yeah. And the winter time is a very good time to actually make this, because it's cold out in most places, depending on where you live, and it needs to be kind of cold after we do all the hotness to it in order to get it to go.
Yeah, because you got to let it kind of, the butter has to set up again for you to then crack it. So this one, see, I'm just breaking them up, and so this is a good part if you have children who want to help. I do not suggest that they help with the hot butter mixture.
Alright, so now that we did this, we're going to start with the next step.
Okay, so we're just taking our butter out of the sleeve, and you do need to use butter, not margarine.
Yeah. Now, it doesn't matter if it's salted or unsalted butter?
No.
Alright, well, also, again, I want to remind you, 350, preheat your oven to 350.
Okay, so we're going to turn this on to a medium high. You want to let your butter just start to melt a little bit before you're going to add your sugar to it.
Yeah. Now you're probably thinking 2 sticks of butter, that's a lot, but this makes a good chunk, so. You're basically sort of making caramel, right? And I guess everyone should know how to make caramel. Can you use sugar substitute? Probably not.
You know, I never tried. It's not something that I would try. And I honestly do not know the answer to that.
So we're just gonna let this melt, and we'll be right back. Or are we gonna add the?
No, we'll come back when this is all melted, and I'll show you. Then we add our sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Here we have our melted butter. Okay. We're gonna add our 1/2 cup of sugar.
It's granulated sugar.
And we're going to incorporate this by mixing it well so all the sugar melts.
Mm-hmm. And you want to keep your heat, you don't want to keep it too high because you don't want to burn the butter.
Correct. So we're going to keep mixing this until it comes to a rolling boil.
Yeah, which means
once it comes to a rolling boil, you'll see that the color changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes more of a darker caramely color.
Mm-hmm. Brownish, yeah.
Yeah, brownish. And this is also the time when you could add your extra nuts to this mixture if you so desired. In my family, many people don't like a lot of nuts, so that's why I don't add extra into this mixture. I just add some nuts to the top.
Mm-hmm.
If it was just for me, I'd add extra nuts to everything. Okay, as you can see, it didn't get darker, but you can see it's at a rolling boil.
Mm-hmm.
A rolling boil is one that you can't stop the boiling even if you're mixing it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
this is hot.
and it's very hot.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep mixing this, and you saw it became foamy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just going to keep mixing it until that foamy kind of ends and it goes back to looking more like a buttery mixture. Then we're going to pour this over the saltines. Make sure you have your dish, your pan on some hot plates, because this is very, very, very hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to spread it around and put it in the oven for 10 more minutes.
Right.
As you can see, it's still cooking along here. Okay. So I'm trying to evenly distribute it around.
And you want to get the bits on the bottom of the pan there if you can.
I'm just going to take my spoon. Now you can see it's already almost starting to solidify. Do you see that?
Mm.
Even though it was like hot, it's like hot molten lava.
Mm.
Everybody loves that salt
And sweet combination.
combination. Yeah. And this is just perfect. You can also use a spatula.
Yeah, an offset spatula or whatever.
Which I probably should have used.
Yeah, because you kind of want to get as much as you possibly can, like every little nook and cranny, to cover it up.
Yep, every last little good drop.
Yeah, because as you can see, some of that's starting to get brown there.
Right, because it was sitting in the pan, and the pan was still hot.
Mm.
Oh, this one last little cracker doesn't want to get covered. Okay.
So now we're going to throw this in the oven for 10 minutes. 350
Only
degree oven.
10 minutes.
Alright, so we right.
And then we'll be back.
It's been 10 minutes. Are you going to wait for this?
Okay, my little chicken is almost ready to... There it goes!
The chicken! The buck buck buck! Said it's 10 minutes.
Okay.
And look at that, huh?
Now, you see how it changed colors?
Holy moly. By the way, caution.
Yes,
Very,
don't have any children around when you're doing
very,
this.
very, very hot. Now,
Okay, now the easy part of putting your chocolate on, because this is so boiling hot, is
liquid lava hot.
I just take and you could just take your morsels, and you're just going to put them on top like this. And your morsels, you just would spread them around.
Yeah, now since it's so hot. That barely helped. But anyways, it's so friggin' hot This chocolate's gonna start melting like no one's business any minute now. And yeah, like my mom said, you can use the morsels as well, or whatever the hell you want. You're kind of making. You know what I was talking about while I was eating this last time last time you made this. This is sort of like if you like Score bars or Heath bars. This is pretty much a Score or Heath bar.
So what you're going to want is some kind of a smaller spatula.
Yeah, my
okay,
mom's
and I'm
not
just letting this see how it.
Yeah.
So we're just letting it melt a little more down.
Yeah. Is this you sure this is enough chocolate?
I hope so.
Jeez. I guess you
I don't put a big.
Well, I guess you could always go get some Hershey Kisses.
Yeah, I actually can.
Yeah.
Good thinking, Pete. Let's throw a few on here.
Alright, so as you can see, my mom, she put a couple of Hershey Kisses on there. Whatever milk or dark chocolate you got lying around.
Even white chocolate. Some people like white chocolate.
Yeah. So what you're just going to do is just going to try to distribute the chocolate evenly around. And try to get every little piece that you possibly can. As you can see, my mom's doing a fairly good job. Those Hershey's, she did put them on a little late, so it's going to take a minute. But, what was I going to say? So, Ma, let's talk about cooling.
Mm-hmm.
This is piping hot, by the way. Scorching hot. Right. Very, very hot.
So, you cannot put this directly into
the freezer.
The freezer or refrigerator to cool down. It's winter time here, so I'm actually going to put this out on our back deck.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cold out there. I think less than 30 degrees, so
if you don't have the luxury of doing what we're going to do, you would have to let this cool down completely.
Yeah. And
then you could stick it into your refrigerator for a little bit.
Yeah, so you would probably let
because
go.
Because that's how you have to break it.
Yeah.
Into little pieces.
Because if it's not cooled properly in the right way, it's going to be a pain in the ass to break. So, yeah, it's what was I gonna say? So yeah, cooling's very important. Like my mom said, room temp if you can. If you can't throw it directly in your freezer or your fridge or whatever, room temp, and then throw it in the fridge or freezer, and let it get cold for about how long until it's
set and it's cold.
Yeah, we'll show you what it looks like. Also, at this point, right, you want to throw the nuts on there.
Yeah, I just want to get this all covered up. This corner is giving me a hard time today.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the opportunity to put nuts on. Again, if you don't like nuts, you can leave it without.
You can leave it without.
You can add
other
crunchy things, I guess.
Yeah, you could add extra candies. You can add the little sprinkles onto it.
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my chopped. I actually have some almonds here.
Yeah, with chopped almonds. And you're just gonna spread them on. You can do it and again, it all depends on your preference of deliciousness.
As I said, in any kind of nut that you like.
Yeah.
Some people like peanuts. Some people like walnuts. Pecans.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So now we're gonna go throw this outside in our quote-unquote refrigerator.
We had an instant one year where I made this for Thanksgiving, and I put it out on my deck to cool down quickly. And all of a sudden, I look out my window, and there is a little squirrel who was eyeing my candy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to run out there and scoop the pan back in before he enjoyed the butter crunch before us.
Yeah, so we're going to put this outside in our fridge, quote-unquote fridge, and then let it cool, and then we'll come back in to crack it.
Okay, here we are. This was outside in the cold for about half hour or so. And as you can see, the chocolate has solidified again, and the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is then just you're going to take a blunt knife and cut through it.
Yeah. And you're just gonna break up.
Yeah, you're just going to break it out in pieces. Nothing has to be
Perfect.
When it's not perfect, it actually looks better. Yeah. This is great to give as a gift for the holidays or any time. And remember, you know, we had the luxury of putting it outside in 30-degree temperature. Once it totally cools, you could put it in your refrigerator, and then when you take it out, it'll come out like this.
Yeah, so let's eat it.
Okay.
All right, here is our butter crunch. As you can see, it looks delicious.
It is delicious.
Yeah.
As we were cutting it up.
Take a piece.
It becomes addictive.
So
it's like a Werther's. If anybody loves, so that's a toffee.
Yeah.
I have to say thank you again to my colleague Chris for letting me and sharing this recipe.
Yeah, delicious combination of salty and sweet. And it's just terrific. Have it with a cup of tea. But we're pretty much
just alone.
Yeah, by yourself. Anyway, so this has been Kenshin1913, or Pete, along with
Mom.
And this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913.
Enjoy and happy eating.